Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. And today I'll be reading A Venti Listener by me. So let's get into it. Venti was someone who you knew, but haven't talked with. Not a lot. Until that one certain party that was thrown by Lisa. And ever since then, you've been friends. Sort of. After all, he was not the most usual companion. Not to mention, he was really difficult to understand sometimes. Though he looked very simple, sometimes he would say the deepest quotes and things, only to go back to acting normal like a goof. It was weird. But you can't lie and deny that you didn't like that part of him, the part that always kept you guessing. And just his fun personality overall. So, no wonder you had an interest in him. But it took you a while to realize that this certain Bart had an interest in you too. It started with him flirting with you whenever you're wearing a dress, a skirt, or really anything. You didn't really need anything special for him to say the most poetic things about you and your beauty. But you didn't get it. Truly, you even found his flirting funny sometimes. You had no idea what you were doing to him, or if his vision was getting weak. Maybe he was blind, because there was no way in hell he truly believed that you were that pretty. But it's fine either way. You knew he was not a danger to you. And honestly, most of his comments were quite creative and fun to hear. And honestly, they made your day a little bit brighter. And you didn't mind them. No, but it only shocked you when you began looking forward to them as a part of your day that you liked. Since when did you care about that Bart so much? Since when did he get in your heart and decide to settle there? That was dangerous. Those feelings, they weren't usual. They were a danger to your poor, poor heart to fall for a Bard who was unreliable as Venti. After all, he hadn't heard much about him, but he was not the most reliable and most responsible person on earth. So really, falling for someone like that, who only catcalled you and flirted with you from time to time, it didn't sound like the best idea. But then again, we are not controllers of our hearts, and sometimes our hearts and minds can go separate ways, with only your soul being the sole decider of what's going to happen. And that's the spot you're in right now. Mine telling you no, that you should never fall in love with Vinci, or even consider responding to one of his many flirtatious comments about you whenever you talked and whenever you passed by. But your heart, your heart would flutter and dance whenever he talked to you. It would be like you were in heaven, somewhere else entirely, away from this world, and the only thing you could hear would be Venti's voice. You had fallen deep and hard for just a bard. But what could you do about it? Really, you felt helpless, like you had no choice but to love him. But then again, you really did want to try with him. But your fears, and the way you couldn't trust him, it all unnerved you, until one day, you were getting catcalled by someone who was not the bard that you were looking forward to meeting. And it was some strange man. Not only that, but he looked quite scary too. And as soon as you told him you're not interested, he started following you, no matter how many times you started telling him to go away. There were no nights nearby, and it was getting quite dark. So no wonder he started running, and he ran right after you, following you wherever you went. And that's when Vinci stopped him, suddenly appearing in your way. What are you doing to her? He spoke, his voice lower than usual. And it might as well be the first time in your life that you've seen him so angry. But here it is. Get away from her. I won't warn you another time. Or what? You're gonna sing a little sad song? He did not expect to get blown away by the wind. Miles away. You only stared in pure surprise and shock because you had no idea that Venti was this powerful. You knew he had a vision, but it's not like he was a fighter. At least that's not from what you've heard and have seen before. Just what was this, Venti? What have you done? Oh, don't worry, Ryan. I haven't hurt him. He'll be alright. Really, I promise. But, it might take him a while to come back here. At least I'll learn a lesson, he said lightly, but you could still see the concern in his eyes as he looked you over. Did I come in time? You did. Thank you. You didn't have to. At all. I do have to, though. After all, I'm the only one allowed to flirt with you, right? He laughed softly at that. He wasn't wrong. He was the only one who liked to flirt with you. And he was not just any cat caller. No. He was a friend of yours. You talked too. He wasn't just some random cat calling you, or else it would have been a different story. He just liked to do that, as a joke sometimes. But you still got the hints, the romantic ones, that he would throw along the way. Venti, my darling moonlight. He blushed, softening. Well, as you can see, your darling moon here was dressed up to meet you. Really? Just for me? Yeah, just for you. I was thinking, since you have been flirting with me all month, how about you take me out on a date? He smiled softly, his eyes glowing a bit. I would love to, Ian. I mean it. I know you do. And besides, that's the least I could offer, after you just saved me from this creep. Hey, it's not a favor to offer. It's your love. And you can only offer it to me if I deserve it. And you truly have those feelings towards me. He was so understanding, so gentle, and so easy to love. No wonder you fell for him. You do, Venti. This heart, right here, he said, as he put a hand on your heart, beats for you now, and only for you. It has been for months. That I can finally say to you now. He hugged you gently, smiling. Well, it did take you a while, but I'm glad you reached the conclusion in the end. Now, I have somewhere special to take you for our first date. It does have to be memorable after all. He nodded, grinning. Yep, and he sure know how to make things very memorable, Venti. Trust me, Ryan, I do.